Okay, hello again. This video will be a little bit different. Primarily, um, I guess I'm sending this for the most part to any of you Mac users. Once again, please contact me right away so that I can create your account on the cloud service that I have allocated for our class. All right, so for Mac users, you are going to, and hopefully you've installed Oracle SQL Developer. It's probably the best platform. I do like this a little bit better than MySQL platform. And the SQL is basically the same. So with this lab, basically, you're going to run through the same type of scenario that the Windows users are going through, but you won't be able to essentially start this until I create an account for you on the cloud infrastructure. So once you've contacted me and I've sent you your username, as you see in the learning materials, the passwords are going to be the same. Just to explain a little bit, Oracle does provide an autonomous, basically database learning area for free, where you can build just a basic database and understand how that infrastructure works. So anyway, moving forward, what you will do, hopefully you've installed the SQL Developer correctly, and your startup screen looks something, or your startup page looks something like this. You have your Oracle SQL Developer. Ignore the connections that I've already created, and you can investigate some of the attributes. It's another powerful tool, just like SQL Server, and there's a lot of things you can do with it. And then you'll definitely see them in the field, see Oracle SQL Developer in the field. All right, so for us, what I want you to do after you've completed your investigation or whatever, we're just going to create a new connection. So in the green plus here, you want to click that. That will open up the new connection. The name of your connection can be anything that you like. I'm just going to call it ASU OCI, which is Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. You want to make sure the data type is Oracle. I think that's the only choice you have in that dropdown. The connection type, and in the learning materials, there's a wallet underscore issue DB zip file. Just make sure you download that to your computer, because that's going to be your connection type. It's the way that we can create this autonomous connection. All right. So, but before we get there, you will have your username. I'm going to use Dylan's. Oops, I created an account for him. So first initial, last name, and then that password that you have access to in the learning material. It's the issue fall22 exclamation. And then this connection type, you want to select Cloud Wallet. All right. And then you want to browse to where that zip file that you downloaded from Canvas. You want to make sure you browse to that wherever you place that. I put it in my downloads folder. So you want to select that. If you don't, then you won't be able to connect. As far as the service, just keep it on high, because you can change it to low. It's all about the number of the number of, what am I saying? Continuous connections, the amount of connections, and it's not going to be a big deal even with several users. It's usually set for thousands, so you can have high, low, medium, TP urgent, and it prioritizes the number of continuous users. Just keep it on high. I mean, that should work for you. And if it doesn't, you can always come back here and change that. And then make sure you test the connection first. That will tell you that the credentials are correct, and you should get a success here. And then save the connection, and you'll see here's the issue OCI here, and then connect. So The one thing I didn't do, if you're wondering why you have to enter your password, I forgot to save the password. If you look back on that new connection page, you can actually save the password, but I did not, so I'll have to enter it in again here. And it just saves time. So now you do have an autonomous connection to the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure database. Now, you don't have to worry about the actual database and database name. All I want you to do is create the tables. So you can do this one of two ways. You can run a SQL query, but before I do that, you can actually use the GUI in the Explorer, just the same as SQL Server. So if you click on your connection, there's a tables folder. If you right click, you can select a new table, name your table. Just as before, I'll just follow the same. I'm going to call it customers. And remember, this is DAdam's schema, so that's your database. Don't worry about advanced or anything like that, or DDL. Right now, we're just creating tables. So I'm going to do the same that I did with SQL Server. Oh, wait a minute. Customer ID, your key, and SQL Developer is easy. You just have a little enable, disable section here, where you can enable it as a primary key, and it will actually do pretty much default the additional attributes. And then you want to hit this little plus here for an additional field, first name. Oops. You actually go into the name itself, and first name, and it already defaults to varchar, and that's fine. I'll just make it 50, just like I did before, and I will allow nulls, and so on. First name, last name, as I did before, and you see it makes everything uppercase, size 50, and then address. Oops. Bill, right here, address. And like I said, I'm going to make this varchar 1.5, just SQL Server. And then finally, phone number. And I'm going to make it varchar. Varchar for the data type is essentially the one that, at least in Oracle, that's used the most, and it will, there's some smart mechanisms within the database that will recognize it as an integer or a number. If we want to change it, that is pretty long, we can do that, but I'm just going to leave it at that. So that's your first table. Then you just click OK. OK. And if you expand your tables, you see your customer table. And just like with SQL Server, you have your fields or your attributes, and the customer table is your entity, and it gives you the general information. So you would want to take a screenshot of this to make sure you have that table built, and you would go ahead and add your additional table. Now, if you want to, well, I would suggest do it that way, but you can also open up a query window if you're wanting to run a query. Let's see. So if you go back to your original connection, that is a query builder window. And if I wanted to create another table, for example, I had something. I'm going to change this. Well, I just copied this off the web. So I'm just going to show you this query. And this is a table called persons. And it's kind of a repeat of customers, but I'm just going to show you the syntax: create table, and then your table name, and then the parentheses, and then now you do want to indicate primary key. You would, before the comma, you would put primary key. Go ahead and do that. Because remember, your primary key is the one thing that creates the relationship. So you would go ahead and build the table that way, and then I just have the select statement in here so that I can see if the table is built. And there's this little execution green arrow. If you click on that, let's see, let's make sure that this is running correctly. Yeah, let's take primary key out of there for now. Not sure why that's not running. We will review that. Yeah, I have the syntax incorrect, so we'll work on that. So now if you take a look inside your tables and do a refresh, right click refresh, you see you have your persons. Now, for some reason, if you want to do it this way, you can bring up the table. Just go into the edit mode. And if you want to, it'll bring up your table as we did before with the table builder. And if you want to add the primary key, you can do it that way. All right. And it tells you that it can't be nullable and it changes it, etc. So this would be the best way to work with it. Use the table builder or a query or a combination of both. And there you go. You will have your table. So once again, what I'd like for you to do is go ahead and create your connection and then build at least 3 tables. And you can use once again, you can use the table builder or queries. I know I have both of them as far as lessons, and either will do fine. So primarily the Oracle SQL developer is for the Mac users. So, and if you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you for your attention, and hopefully you're not going to have any issues with building, the start of building your data.